Okay, so I saw the pictures, right? Because they've been talking about this since NA Fan Fest, and they've been showing us, like, here's the stuff you're gonna get. And they showed the pictures, and I was just kind of like, ew, it's gross. Why would I, ew. But it was the pictures. Square, if you're out there, if you're watching this, please hire some of the community's G-posers to handle how you guys are showing off outfits, because when I got playing it and started seeing it in game, first of all, it dies really well. It looks really great. I'm a Miko, so it may not be the same across the board, but I have yet to see a bad race in it. Elizons, Femros, Falafels, they all look great in the hoodie. The hoodie looks amazing. It's got the glow on the back and stuff. But when I first saw it, I was like, ew, I'm not wearing that. That's gross. And then I saw it in game and got to get it for myself, and I was like, wow, okay, this is so much better.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chocobo Radio, episode number 22. Today, we have a very, very special guest. The first time we have a person coming on 2 times onto the podcast. We have SpokiDokes. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Wait, I'm the first repeat? That's crazy. Hi, hello. I didn't know that. I literally just found that out with you guys at the same time. That's crazy. Hi, hello out there, everyone. I am SpokiDokes, or otherwise known as Spoki to the vast majority of the community. I'm a Final Fantasy XIV content creator and also Twitch streamer. You can follow me on TikTok. I have a Blue Sky now, which I'm going to try to get better about using, and as well as Twitch. And my name is the same across the entire board.
Awesome. So today we have a lot of news to go over, but I think where we have to start is with patch 6.51. So if you haven't seen this yet, one of the biggest parts of patch 6.51 is that we have the Fall Guys collab event. So I just have to ask, Spoki, what do you think about it so far?
Okay, so it's fun, right? And I don't know if it's fun because endgame player with nothing left to do but raid, or if it's legitimately good, clean fun. Either way, not mad at it at all.
Yeah.
As you can see, my character is completely decked out. I got the hoodie, I got the shoes, I got the mount. It's a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and I don't know, it fits somehow to me. That was one of the things, and it's funny because every time we have an event, like a collab event, I always like to go on Reddit and see what people are saying. And the one complaint that I always see is people talking about how it's not lore accurate, how it doesn't fit in the game. And every time I read those comments, I'm just thinking to myself, like, who cares? You know, as long as it's fun. As long as it's fun. God forbid you have fun that doesn't involve saving the world. Oh no.
Exactly. But you know, the event was it's pretty fun. I gotta say, I've gotten a couple wins already, and I do have some of the outfits, and I gotta say the glam this time around was amazing. Like you said, like the sweater, the sneakers, it looks awesome. It really does look awesome.
It did. Okay, so I saw the pictures, right? Because they've been talking about this since NA Fan Fest, and they've been showing us, like, here's the stuff you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And they showed the pictures, and I was just kind of like, ew, it's gross. Why would I, ew. But it was the pictures. Square, if you're out there, if you're watching this, please hire some of the community's G-posers to handle how you guys are showing off outfits, because when I got playing it and started seeing it in game, first of all, it dies really well. It looks really great. I'm a Miko, so it may not be the same across the board, but I have yet to see a bad race in it. Elizons, Femros, Falafels, they all look great in the hoodie. The hoodie looks amazing, and it's got the glow on the back and stuff. But when I first saw it, I was like, ew, I'm not wearing that. That's gross. And then I saw it in game and got to get it for myself, and I was like, wow, okay, this is so much better than it used to be. So
I feel that way with a lot of the ways that they always introduce some of these glams, some of these new outfits. I think you're right. They really should just hire a G poser and just have them, you know, showcase all of their new stuff. You're completely correct with that.
I agree. I don't know why they haven't at this point. It's kind of wild, to be completely honest.
Yeah. But, you know, one of the things that I will say is that when it comes to the Fall Guys event, there was a comment that I saw on Reddit that basically put it the best, where they said the best thing to come out of it is that casuals finally understand snapshots and what we complain about when we say what WTF is this netcode. So I am not a big raider, and you know, I am a casual. I make no, I don't mind it. I love playing this game casually. And I always did ask myself what people were talking about with snapshots, with netcode, and all of this stuff. And I do gotta say, I do agree that playing this Fall Guys event, it does, you do see that. You do see how things that should have hit you don't hit you, and things that don't actually hit you really, really hit you. So what do you know about this?
Okay. So I do high-end content, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun for me. I really like extremes. The newest extreme has been kind of a good time. The Savage tier is kind of a good time, especially these last 4. We have been toying around in another Aloe Island as well, which we'll get to the variant dungeon stuff in a second. But it was hilarious to see an acceleration bomb show up in the Fall Guys thing to me. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Oh, we're raiding. I have this long running joke that Yoshi P is I'm not going to use the bad word. My community gets on me for using the bad word. I'm like, no, that's what it is. This is what's happening. Yoshi P is preparing us against our will for ultimate raiding. And it doesn't matter what type of player you are. And we're starting to see stuff like that show up. So the acceleration bomb, that's a Savage mechanic. That's where that shows up at for the first time. Snapshotting, absolutely. Those oranges that are just flashing in and going away, it's raiding pace. And so I thought that was really funny to see it applied to something that everyone is going to go do and have a good time with without the horrific side effect of, okay, now everybody fell down.
Yeah.
So I think it was genius. They are definitely starting to sneak in high-end content mechanics into everyday content, and it's been really amusing for me to watch.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. But you know, you did mention the new variant and Criterion dungeon, Aloe Island. It is amazing. I gotta say,
I love it in there.
Yeah,
it's so pretty.
Like, I honestly do think the variant dungeons are my new favorite game mode in Final Fantasy XIV because, you know, like I said, like I haven't been around for that long in this game, but playing through these variant dungeons, it does feel like a different game in a way, because I've always found that a lot of the dungeons, especially, you know, not ARR, but closer to like Endwalker and Shadowbringers, a lot of them do feel a little bit linear, if that's like a good word to say. So
no, that's the perfect word. Yeah,
and so having all of these different paths that you can take, different ways of completing it, I love it. And I know it will never happen, but I kind of wish all of the dungeons are variant dungeons. But it would never happen. Right. It would never happen.
You know, never say never. I get the feeling that they will find a way to incorporate that at some point down in the distant future into MSQ.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Variant dungeons are a good way to mix it up, right? Because when you get regular dungeons, they're fun. The music is nice. The environments are cool to look at. But there's really only so many times you can go through that where it's pack of ads, boss fight, pack of ads, boss fight, before you, like, you're running them as your dailies and you're dozing off at your desk because you've been through 400 times.
Yeah.
Variant dungeons take that from you. They're like, there's no sleeping because you have to pay attention. You have to read the notes. You have to look around and see if there's stuff you can touch. You have to pay attention to the NPC that's going with you for clues. And the fights are great too. Yeah. This one's good. They keep getting better. They've done nothing but improve as they've come out.
Yeah. One of the things that I keep saying on stream is that from what we've seen so far with the post Endwalker patches, I am really hyped for Dawn Trail, because it seems like with every single dungeon, with every new trial, it seems like they're learning new stuff and they're implementing it to make it even better. So now I feel like ARR to Endwalker was the base. It should now be considered the base game, and now Dawn Trail and going forward, now we get to like let them spread their wings and just see what they can give us, because I think because remember, ARR kind of was this emergency game to fix 1.0, so they've just been building off of ARR since 2013 that it came out. So now they have a chance to start a new chapter, start with new characters, start a new story, and just do whatever it is that they want. And that is what's most exciting for me about 7.0 and going forward, is now we get to see what they're making from scratch.
I am very, very excited about what we're getting for Dawn Trail. And I agree with you. I think that ARR to Endwalker was one complete story. And I hope that in the future we get to the point where we're like, all of this here is the tutorial, right? And when we do get Dawn Trail, that we're getting some of those flashier, more clever kind of mechanics, and we're seeing it all throughout, not just in boss fights, but I want to see them in dungeons too, because I think that really, really makes things fun. But that's just me. I don't know if anybody else would agree with us.
One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately is this idea of the overworld, and starting to make the overworld a little bit more interesting. Because like as much as I like, a lot of the Endwalker zones, once you finish up the MSQ, there's not really much that you can do. I mean, you could go out and fate farm and I guess do treasure maps, but other than that, that's kind of it. And it's such a shame because they build these giant zones that are really interesting to look at, but you really have no reason to go out and explore. It's not like you could find a chest behind a waterfall or anything. I really wish that they start making things in the overworld. Like one of the things that I liked about Skyrim is that you can go into a cave and then all of a sudden you're like deep into this like whole quest line that you had no idea even existed. And I kind of wish we had something like that in this game. I was thinking about it and it's like, what is the way that they could probably do it? And the only thing that I could think of really is if they started making something like the shrines from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Where like they have
just
these like instance,
kind of, you can't get to them from the duty finder, you have to go find them.
You have to go find them.
That would be clever. Because right now the overworld isn't for us. So if you're a story enjoyer, if you like combat and that's really what you play for and that's it, the overworld's not for you. You have something that's that's designed to get you out and explore, and that's the Aether Currents. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. You've taken flight from me until I literally go and explore these zones. But I'm only playing this game to fight. So this is a chore at this point. It's not fun. And the vistas exist, but like, who's actively going to get the vistas? People are doing that in passing. They're like, oh, a vista, and then they go do the lookout, and then they move on.
Do you gain anything from those? Because I've ignored a lot of them.
So, and this is what I was leading up to, is it's for crafters. So the Vista points give you stuff for painting pictures. So like for housing. So you get this Vista point and you can now, if you have a crafter leveled, go paint a picture and then hang that up in your apartment or your room or your house. Overworld is for crafters and gatherers right now, and they go out and they explore and they have all kinds of fun, doing that stuff because they need to. But we as like story enjoyers and like combat players, there's not a whole lot for us to do out there. So I think having a couple like secret dungeons like that where you can't get to them from the duty finder, you have to go find the entrance and that's how you get in, that would be really cool. I think that would be really, really innovative. I hope you're right. I hope that's something that they implement.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think this is the one thing that I really, really like about the devs in this game is that, everybody complains about something. There's a lot of different factions in this game. There's the G-posers, there's the lore enjoyers, you have the raiders over here. I feel like everyone has like their own little niche community that is complaining about something that they want in the game. And eventually...
We're very spoiled.
And eventually the devs, they implement some of these new things. So I give them, I have a lot of hope because I know that the devs are listening, and we still have 10 more years of content to come to this game. So I'm sure eventually everything will be addressed. And that's what I love about this game.
I think you're right. They said, Fun Carry in chat said, not sure if you can see this, but the Manderville questline was initially a questline to test facial and animation ideas. And they're talking about how that's been implemented throughout the years. That's
true.
Really cool. I didn't know that. So,
I have seen a couple of MSQ cutscenes that kind of have that impression of a Hildebrand cutscene where there's like these like weird facial animations or these so I really enjoy that. Yeah.
I think they're already on top of, slowly trickling things in, and I hope that some of your suspicions and mine are right.
I'm thinking of making a video on that, and we'll see when I make it.
Please do.
Yeah. So there are also new minions. We have some new mounts. What do you think about the fairy mount? Because I think that's the one that everyone is talking about right now.
So I am one away, right? To get the fairy mount, you have to do all 12 paths. I've been kind of chipping away here and there at them over the couple of days because I'm one of the few people that's like, Variant Dungeon, yeah, I'll go by myself. I don't care. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I have one more route to do, and I know what I have to do. I just have to literally run it before I get her, but I do want it. And I think as a mount, it's great. I am disappointed because she has far too much personality, in my opinion, to just be relegated to a mount in a Variant Dungeon boss. She's fun. She's terrible, but she's fun.
Yeah.
Right? With the whoopee cushions and then all the commentary throughout the entirety of the fight. That's a really good boss.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have been in MSQ somewhere instead of in this little, side quest Variant Dungeon. You deserve more to me, but I do love it. I love the fairy mount. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I hope she has her gun and does something cool like when you're on the ground.
Yeah.
I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then we also have some new flashy weapons that if you haven't yet, I did make a video on them. These look bomb. They look amazing. I am in love with these new weapons. And I think for me, my favorite one so far is still the Bard bow and arrow because it has like a little bird on top and it has like these like sound effects that make it look like a singing. Do you have a favorite one that you've seen so far from these new weapons?
I do. I do. And it's surprising because it's not even a class that I have 90'd. I only have like 4 classes that aren't capped at this point.
Yeah.
It's Dragoon. The Dragoon Spear was my favorite. I was surprised. I didn't think it would be, but the Dragoon Spear was my favorite out of the bunch. It looks shorter, first of all, which I thought was really cool. It's like a short lance versus the normal size ones that we get.
Yeah. And
the glow effect on it was just really nice. It was just really nice. So, it's motivation to finish leveling my Dragoon because I don't play a lot of melees. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, that was my favorite for sure.
Nice. Yeah. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and try and grind out these weapons because they are amazing. And then there's a big creator, big Twitch streamer called Arthurs, who said that he considers these weapons the actual relic grind for Endwalker. And I just wanted to know what are your thoughts on that? Did you
first of all,
do you miss the relic grind that we had in the past?
Hi, Nicoletta. So first of all, I'm mad at Arthur's right now. And let me explain.
Go for it.
This is not beef. I'm not starting beef on the internet, but I have a problem with you because I feel like what we have. So first of all, to get the relics, these weapons, you literally have to go through the gauntlet. You have to have the 660 weapon that you can only get by getting the thing out of P12S. So that means you have had to have cleared P12S before you can get the 660 weapon. From there, you have to do Aloe as a Criterion
on Savage
to unlock Savage, and you have to complete Savage. I don't know if you've been in the Criterion version of Aloe yet, if you've been in another. I am blaming Arthur's for that because you religiously complained that all of the higher end content was too easy. It is your fault, Arthur's, that I am suffering and that I can't just go get my weapon. But I do agree with him. I don't know that I necessarily miss the relic grind so much. I do think it is a little anticlimactic to go rack up tomes to get a rock and then just turn it in. Yeah. I agree with that piece. there's a happy medium somewhere is what I'm getting at. And this isn't it. Arthur's is happy. The rest of the community is not, because it's excessive. It is a lot of work.
It is really hard.
For a single weapon. Mm-hmm. You're asking a lot. But,
yeah. Well, one of the things that I think the only upside to having these weapons as tomb weapons is that I feel like this gives people the opportunity to unlock multiple versions of these weapons, because I have talked to a lot of creators doing this podcast, and I always ask them, like, how many relic weapons do you actually have? And a lot of them tell me, oh, I have like 1 or 2, and that's it. And when it comes to these Endwalker ones with tombs, you now have the ability to basically unlock all of them over the span of maybe 2 or 3 months if you really just grind them out.
It's kind of a time gate at this point.
But
prior to this, I have somewhere between 7 and 10.
Oh wow! Okay, that's pretty good. That is really good. That is really good.
I don't have them all. I don't think I want them all. I don't even play all the classes like that. But the resistance relics, I was really, really into those. And so I grinded, and I'm pretty sure I have 7 of them.
Yeah.
It's like 7. I have like 7 resistance relics.
That is impressive.
There's like 1 Heaven's Word in there, and then like 2 ARR ones that are unfinished. I'm not crazy, I swear to God.
Yeah.
They're unfinished. 2 ARR ones in there. But yeah, so...
Did you like playing?
I don't know. It takes the fun out of it. Not being able to do all this stuff.
It's like
a little bit.
I want a really hard grind, because you do have that satisfaction of eventually getting it. But at the same time, I think you're right. I think it's about finding a happy like middle, and I don't think we've found that yet. But I don't know. I don't know what it could be.
I hope they get there. I hope it's here. Yeah. I hope that all of this tome grind, the next time that we get another step, they're smacking us in the face with content of some sort. Like specific content of some sort. Like, oh yeah, it was fun. You went and turned in tickets. Good for you. Now fight. I really want that to be a thing. I do. It would be very Mandarillion. I think, well.
That's true. That's true. 6.51 also gave us some new flashy tools for your crafters and gatherers. I don't think I have any of the shiny tools, so
I'm not a crafter. I like to hit stuff. But for those of you that don't know, I am one of the FC leaders for Kings of Iron. We have members that were super stoked about the flashy tools and the new like turn-in quest line and stuff. So they've been happy, very, very happy as far as I can tell as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet. I gotta ask to see one.
Right? I remember the Shadowbringers one looked pretty cool. They kind of looked like fish scales, and they were like rainbowy. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were really pretty. The Splendorous ones. I remember that.
Yeah, but we have 6.55 patch 6.55 coming in January, so we should get that around the same time as the Japan Fan Fest. So I'm really hyped for 6.55. This is the end of the MSQ for post Endwalker, and then it's just the wait until Dawntrail. Are you a big lore person?
Yes. I would like to say so. There are things that I take more interest in than others, but yeah.
What are your thoughts on 6.55? Like, how do you think, like, where do you think the story's going to go, and how are they going to end it?
I have no idea, and it's been driving me crazy, right? Yeah. So I don't want to do spoilers, but we did what we did with the last Alliance raid, right? And so now that chapter is like closed.
It's
like,
done.
there are no more. We really took out like a whole people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this letter, right? And it's old and it's dated, right? And we don't know the person it was addressed to is gone. Like they've been gone, and I don't know. I have no idea. I'm excited. Yeah. It is a new adventure, and I have no earthly idea what we could be doing outside of maybe visiting the 13th at some point or another to help fix that a little bit more, because we've kind of put a pin in that, right? Like it's not done. They're on the start, but it's not done. So I feel like we will be back at the 13th at some point or another.
Yeah. I do. And speaking of Dawntrail, one of the questions that I keep asking people and myself is this idea of how big of a part should the Scions have in Dawntrail? So I'm curious as to how you feel about this, because for me, I wouldn't mind if the writers start to shelve some of these Scion characters and then just start bringing in some new characters into the fold. How do you feel about this?
I don't want to hang out with Kryl anymore.
Yeah.
I agree with you, kind of. I look at this as a different sort of opportunity. So like the movie Hangover, right? The Hangover with the 4 guys that go to Vegas. This is the Scions and the Warrior of Light's hangover trip. I want this to wholly and fully, now that the world's not in danger, the universe is not in danger, no one as of right now in this moment is in danger of dying. Can I get to know these characters? What's Y'shtola's favorite breakfast food?
Yes.
What does Urianger like to read? Does Tancred put his socks on one at a time or both? You know what I mean? Like the pieces like that.
The tiny stuff. Out. I want a cutscene where we just get to see Y'shtola's room.
Right. Can you? I'm hoping that that's what we're getting. We're going on vacation, right? It's an adventure to a tropical place. It's a vacation. We're gonna help some people while we're there. We're like missionaries, whatever. Great, wonderful. I want to get to know Raha. Is he afraid of the dark? What does he like to eat in the afternoons? What kind of tea does he drink? You know, the details. Start filling them out, fleshing them out, making them fully fleshed people. And I think that is what they're going to do. And my thought process behind it is 16. Because Yoshida in Final Fantasy 16, those characters are fleshed out. They have likes, they have dislikes, they have fears, they have aspirations. Those are people that he did. And it was just like a sampling. So I can see him doing it for the Scions for Dawntrail, and I'm praying that he does.
Yeah, because it just feels like a lot of the times the MSQ is just so big, you know, it's so extraordinary. And I think it's time to just, you know, bring it to a local thing where we just I just want to like
hang out with the homies.
Yeah. One of my favorite cutscenes is when you're just sitting in a room on a table just talking to another character. Those are some of my favorite parts of especially Endwalker. Yeah.
Raha with the burger went viral. More taco burger moments. Raha's a foodie, right? We've learned this by now. We go on like a foodie adventure. That'd be cool. I'd be down with that. That's fine.
Yeah, but we'll see. Dawntrail's coming out in the summer. We don't have a date yet, as far as I'm aware.
Not yet.
So we should be getting one in the Japanese Fan Fest. So if you haven't made plans to watch the keynote, you probably should, because a lot is going to be told in Japanese Fan Fest.
See, you feel how I feel. I feel like they held the cards. They held the good cards for home. I'm so excited for JP Fan Fest.
Me too.
We're gonna get a lot of good treats.
And speaking of conventions, there was some news that broke out a couple days ago where the Final Fantasy XIV vocalist Susan Calloway, who sings Answers, she got into a little bit of a Twitter cancellation. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, sure. Yep, we'll go with that.
Yeah, so there was an article by The Gamer where they said Susan Calloway has seemingly deleted her Twitter account in what appears to be an attempt at damage control, as several fans discovered the singer has been liking extremely racist and transphobic tweets for the past 6 months. She was also kicked out of the convention KupoCon, which is happening in Canada in December. She posted a statement on her website where she said that she was hacked, and what she said was, unfortunately, my hacking experience this year have including hackers liking some offensive and controversial posts. I am truly sorry for the confusion that has caused my fans and colleagues. I understand how upsetting this has been. Some of this activity I didn't even realize was going on until a few days ago.
Yeah.
So, where do we start? Where do we start with this?
Okay, so there's a lot of people in chat. It looks like you guys haven't heard about this. So for those of you who don't know, Susan Calloway was the first vocalist that worked for the 14 franchise. She did Answers. She also did Dragon Song. And there's one more in there too. I just can't remember what it is. She has not been making tweets, but her liked tweets signify a track record of transphobic, racist, borderline homophobic remarks.
Yeah.
And these are all really, really scathing, kind of just really unsafe stuff that she has likes under for her profile.
Yeah, if you're aware of the Libs of TikTok Twitter account,
I'm not.
There's a couple of likes stuff from there I saw. But go on.
Oh God, I hate it. Okay, so she said that she was hacked, and then so the community found out about this. Somebody found out about this, and they posted it on Twitter, as well as like screenshots of her likes under a bunch of these. And when I say a bunch, it was like 20 something screenshots. She, the community, which I will explain in a second. And so she made a statement saying, "Hey guys, I was hacked. I'm real sorry. I don't know. This is scary. I don't condone hate." Somebody countered that by saying, "I really want to believe you, but this goes back further than like 6 months," and like showed proof. And so after that, she deleted her account. She was removed from KupoCon, not because KupoCon was like, "Bad lady," but because she was getting death threats. Oh. And so were the convention staff. If she shows up here, bad things are going to happen. If she shows up here, I'm going to do this, that, and the third. And so for safety reasons, they canceled her invitation.
Interesting.
So it was not that it was, "She's a bad lady, she can't sit with us."
Yeah.
KupoCon canceled it because they didn't want anybody to get hurt on the staff side, guest side, or Susan's side herself. As far as my thoughts, hot take, you guys as a community have dropped the ball on this. This was an opportunity to discuss how we feel about our favorite creators' personal beliefs and views on life. Do I believe she was hacked? Not at all. I'm just gonna say that right now. Susan, not your best take, man. "I was hacked" is not gonna get you out of this.
It's an old excuse.
Yeah, if you're conservative, be conservative, right? I understand the fear, especially where this community is concerned, but I was hacked. Now you've just lied to everybody, so now everybody's mad.
Yeah.
Death threats, guys, really?
It's not cool. Especially
with a convention that had nothing to do with what she liked on Twitter. They just booked a guest that they thought the community was a fan of. That's crazy to me. That's taking it entirely too far. And you have taken off of the table an opportunity to have conversations about these types of people in this type of space. We have someone who, with conservative beliefs, that is liking stuff that very clearly clashes with what this game and the community as a whole stands for. We could have talked about that. Susan has not worked for 14 or Square for years. The last song she did was in Heaven's Word. She was replaced with Amanda, you guys. She's been gone for years. So that tells me that Square knew and we're like, "Oh yeah, nah, you can't say hey, Amanda, come here for a second." You know what I mean? She's already been removed.
Yeah.
She's a legend, she's a legacy, yes, but at this point she's no longer relevant to the game or our community. So the death threats, that's too much. We have to stop doing it. We have to. It's ridiculous to take up the same sorts of behaviors that you're condemning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I could go on for hours about this, but my thoughts and opinions as a whole, do I agree with Susan Calloway's beliefs? Absolutely not. But they're hers, and I don't think I should be threatening her life over them.
Yeah,
that's just me.
It gets to this interesting conversation where people talk about, can you separate the artist from their own personal beliefs? We see this a lot, especially with like musicians, where, an artist will have some interesting takes, some interesting personal ideas, and then people start asking, is it okay to still listen to Kanye in 2023? Right. And it's an interesting conversation, but I feel like when you just start to, I guess, cancel them, I honestly hate that word, but when you start
that's
to,
what it is.
Yeah,
you're 86ing a person as a
If you can't even have a conversation, well, where do you go from there?
That's my point, right? Do not be, if anything. If you have learned nothing from this game for the 10 years that it's been going, It's that hive mind mentality is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Tempered? We got rid of the tempered. Remember that whole arc right there? Hive mind mentality is bad, guys. You have to stop. And so I just feel like there should have been a conversation. Were people going to disagree? Absolutely. But I feel like as adults, that's something we should be learning how to do in a civil way anyway.
Yeah.
So I am disappointed in the community. I'm disappointed in Susan, but that's now separate and it's been overshadowed by
Twitter.
You missed out on an opportunity to let her go to KupoCon where you could ask her to her face about her beliefs and maybe have a meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
That's gone now. That's off the table.
Do you when you see stories like this pop up, does it ever make you nervous of talking about your own personal opinions? Do you ever fear of getting canceled? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's anxiety because it's very hard to reason with a large chunk of this community. They'll look at something that you've said or done 10, 20, 50 years ago, or even maybe just an off-color joke that you made that's taken out of context. And before you have a chance to be asked anything, it's just down, boo! When you get above a certain threshold, like yourself, like myself, like Susan, you lose the privilege to be human, I guess. And that's really sad to say, but it's true. So at that point, you having an opinion that's not relatable creates cognitive dissonance. People are really unhappy about that, and they react in very, very violent ways. And so, do I get nervous about it? Absolutely. But I'm not, I don't think my game plan is just to be myself. In every circle and every facet. If I said or did something, I'm absolutely going to own up to it. If you want an explanation, I'll give you one. If not, okay, conversation is done. But
it is interesting to see how quick the internet can turn on you, because I mean this whole thing reminds me of the Rich Campbell thing. Which I mean, where's Rich been? You know, I haven't heard of him for a while.
They ran him out of town, more or less, and for reasons, you know, he admitted to some things, and he seemed sorry, and then he wasn't sorry, and then it was content fodder, and nobody wanted to put up with it. So like that's where he went. It was while they were under fire, like the whole team was under scrutiny for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, that was an interesting one, because so for people who don't know, like I the reason why I started playing this game in the first place is because I saw a lot of news talking about this WoW streamer called Asmongold starting to play Final Fantasy, and there was like so much news about 14 going on right now at the time. So I mean, I'm not a big Asmongold, like I don't really watch his stuff, but you know, he's a big creator, and that was one of the reasons as to why I even became aware of 14. So when Asmongold stopped playing it, I was kind of looking for like another creator just to see like what a Twitch streamer would, you know, like how they play 14, and that's when I came across Rich Campbell. Which so it was really weird for me, because like I was, you know, watching him for a little while, watching his clips on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, boom, all of this thing just like explodes, and now I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it even extended to people that knew Rich. So I don't know if you guys remember. You remember Gremlo, the Lalafell with the hat and the yellow jacket. Gremlo was catching heat, and it's like I didn't have anything to do with that. This happened before I even knew Rich Campbell, you know. So you guys gotta chill out as a community. Even the WoW community is not as bad as being hive mind violent as we are. So I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah.
Speaking of WoW got a new update. I am not a World of Warcraft player. Have you played World of Warcraft?
Not at all.
Yeah,
I am not a World of Warcraft player. They're having isn't like BlizzCon or something going on like right now? I think. Yeah, they're doing a thing.
Yeah, so they have their own convention going on, and I've been hearing a lot of people say that WoW is good now. So if you haven't seen it, the biggest part of WoW is that they introduced something called War Bands, which is a feature that basically connects all of your alts to your main character. And
interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you, do you have an alt in 14, and why or why not?
I do have an ult, and this is gonna. All right, you guys ready? I hope you're sitting down. My ult's name is Omira Akihiko. Oma is actually my second character, not my first. My first character is named Rain. Originally a female Vera, is currently a male Vera. And that was the first character that I played on. They started on Aether, and then I made a second character to play with a different friend and just ended up spending more time on the second character that you all know as Oma. But Rain is still around. Rain still exists. And I use him from time to time. Yeah, so originally that was my plan. That's why he exists. That was supposed to be my main account. That was going to be the one that I ran real heavy on. Yeah. And I just didn't, so.
Yeah, it's funny because I never really understood why you would have an ult playing through this game. Like, I never understood it. I always thought it just seemed like not necessarily a waste of time, but it just seemed like a big time consumption to have to go through all of MSQ, to go through all of this leveling. It was just a lot of time, but it finally clicked as to why I would want to get an ult, and it happened when I started to think about Fantaing my character. So I've been this character, I've been a Miko since I started this game. And then when I was like thinking about wanting to try maybe a Bun Boy, I was like, I still want to have my main character. And it wasn't until that I wanted to start maybe playing another race or another class that I was like, damn, I now understand why people put so much time in an ult, because I don't want anything to happen to my cat girl. I don't want to.
Right. Rain is all caught up. He's a bun boy. He's super handsome. So he exists now. If I want to use like a different body for video, I haven't used him a lot lately, but yeah. And he's caught up. He finished Endwalker. We haven't done post though. None of the post has been done on him, and a lot of the side stuff hasn't been unlocked. But yeah.
Gotcha. So how did you get introduced to 14?
So
like, what is the story? What is your origin story?
I had a friend. There's actually a TikTok on my page about this. I had a friend during the pandemic that was, I mean, prior to the pandemic, was preaching, you gotta play it. You're gonna like it. You gotta play it. You're gonna like it. And being a hardcore Final Fantasy fan, I was always aware of its existence, but I never stepped foot into the MMO online world. It just didn't appeal to me for whatever reason. And then the pandemic happened, and I was looking for something to do with my significant other, and I was like, maybe we should try it. You like MMOs, I like Final Fantasy, and then that's where Rain came from. And then I made a second character to play with her for when he didn't feel like playing.
Gotcha.
And I just got sucked right in. I did not think I was going to love it as much as I did. I thought I was going to like it, but it very quickly rose to like the top of the list for me. It's such a complex story. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's, who doesn't want to be the hero in a Final Fantasy game, right? I am now, and it's good. I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a story about where your name came from? Where Oma came from?
I Googled it.
Okay.
So okay. When I pick names for characters, there is always some sort of significance behind it. I come up with a concept for what I want that character to embody. And then I will Google names that mean that in a language that falls under like the aesthetic I'm looking for. And then I just kind of go through and I look for one that fits, that's not super inappropriate or like culture vulturing.
Gotcha.
And I go from there. So Omira is actually Polynesian, believe it or not.
Cool.
And I cannot remember what it meant, but yeah, it's a Polynesian name that I settled on, and I thought that it just really worked. So
gotcha. What did you think of A Realm Reborn when you first played through it?
Don't cancel me. I loved it. I loved it.
Okay.
I sat in a very interesting spot. I think I am what you would consider the perfect candidate to start 14.
Sure.
I love casters. I've always loved casters. I had a significant appreciation for the Final Fantasy series as a whole, right? And I had never played an MMO. Not really. Like I dabbled. I'd done BDO and Terra Online here and there, but I had never like really sat down to get into an MMO like I did this one. So being a Final Fantasy fan, loving casters, and have never really invested in an MMO, it set me up for success. Right. Because I chose Black Mage as my starting class.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And I'm going through, and the story is slow, right? And Black Mage is slow, so everything is slow, and it just kind of evened the pace for me. And I didn't know any better. So it worked. It worked. As I was going through ARR, I loved it until I got up to the post, and then I didn't, because by the time that I got to post ARR, they had not made those changes. Remember the culling where they took out like 40 to 60 quests or something like that?
Yeah.
I didn't get that privilege. I was going through the post quests while they were all still there.
What year was this? So, like, what expansion was out when you started playing?
Shadowbringers had just dropped, and it had only been out about maybe 3 to 6 months or so. Okay. And so it was, I don't know, maybe 5.1, 5.2. I want to say when I came in. And so I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. So when I'm playing through ARR, I was like, this is really good. It's kind of cheesy, but you know, most Final Fantasy games are, and I get to be a Black Mage. Yeah. And I complained. I did complain about those post quests. I was so cranky about that. But I kept pushing, and I played Black Mage all the way up until I hit Shadowbringers. I ran Black Mage for Amarat.
Wow. Look at you.
And so I just kind of picked like a really good play style to go in, and it was only up from there.
Yeah.
So,
damn, that's
I liked
cool.
AR when I was a scout.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
What is your favorite aspect of 14? Is it the rating? Is it the MSQ? Is it the RPing? Is it G posing? What is your favorite part of the game?
The community. I have a love-hate relationship with the community, but I do love it. I think that is where the magic truly kicks in, honestly. But if we're not talking cheesy Mr. Rogers answers, definitely rating. I like high-end rating. I like to fight. It's a good time for me. It's a dance, and it's really, really rewarding for me. So.
I've heard that a lot, especially like from a lot of the bigger raider creators, where they talk about how rating is like a dance. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So a lot of the times when we have, and I know you went with us for Zeromus a little bit, there's not really a whole lot of choreography at play there, right? With the exception of like meteors. You have a sequence of things, of requirements that need to be satisfied within a certain time limit, right? So I got all this stuff going on, and I basically need to grab it really, 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 really fast and then organize it. And everyone is doing that. And so if everybody, I don't know if you plan on delving deeper into rating or not.
One day.
But if you ever go with a team that knows what they're doing, there's going to be a moment where there's this really complex set of mechanics you have to do, and everyone is going to do what they need to do perfectly. If you ever watch the map, if you ever watch your team, while that's going on, it very much looks like synchronized swimming. Everybody moving in time at the same time, doing stuff. They go here, they go there, they go back, and then when it's done, everyone's alive, and now you're beating up on this monster again. It's the best thing ever. And it's just very satisfying. It feels good on the brain.
Yeah,
it does.
That's great. Have you when it comes to like the high end stuff, have you like beaten all the ultimates? Have you done all that, or like what is your goal for like the end of the year when it comes to like content?
End of the year? I don't know. I've not really set one for myself. I spend a lot of time doing FC stuff, and trying to organize and make sure that those guys are happy. So I don't set goals for me, and maybe I should change that. But end of the year, I would love to step foot in an ultimate, I would say, before Dawn Trail comes out. Absolutely. I want to do the Criterion dungeons, all of them. I know I sound crazy for that. There's no reward in it. Like enough from it, but I just want the bragging rights, man. I've always been a bragging rights kind of player when it comes to Final Fantasy games anyway. You know, those extra fights they would include that didn't give you anything?
Yeah.
I'd do those. I was that kid that would do those. And so, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been saying is that from 6.55 to Dawntrail, like that gap, that is when I am going to go like deep into raiding. But I want to start back at Alexander because I never got a chance to actually do Alexander synced. And every time that I've been, you know, trying to get a party finder going for Alexander, there have been times where I've just waited, you know, in queue for like 3-4 hours. You know, I'm just AFK, of course, but I've tried to get parties going for old content, and it's really, really tough. But at the same time, I've been a part of a couple statics, and what is it with statics and having so much drama?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I actively avoided Static Life because I'd heard horror stories. Like, before we moved to Seraph, we were on Crystal, and my God, those. Nothing against white mages, because I play white mage myself, best lazy healer, woohoo. But Jesus Christ, what is going on? Is everything okay at home? This is why, like.
Yeah, there's a reason. Like, if you look at my videos, whenever I have a Dark Knight or whenever I have a White Mage, it's always because there's a little they're out there, you know. White Mage mains are always so out there, and I don't understand it.
I've tried to work out why, and the best that I have come up with is healers are in demand always. Forever. It doesn't matter what high-end content it is. You need healers, and they are very hard. Good ones are very hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I think white mages know that because they have all these really handy buttons, they're a healer that everybody wants. And so since I'm what you want, you're going to give me what I want. But I don't know where that comes from beyond that point. It's very toxic, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
E2S flashbacks midnight, please. Oh my gosh.
It's interesting. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So your TikTok account is heading towards 10K followers. I'm just wondering how does that feel for you?
I don't know. Weird, I guess.
Yeah.
It's still. I get reminded a lot that I have a following on TikTok that's rather substantial in the community because I often forget. I'm like, it's just 8,000 people. Everybody's got that. No, they don't, Spoki. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to treat them that we're the same, though. And they're like, it doesn't matter. So being on the verge, the cusp of 10K is really surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't think you guys liked that. I try just making funny stuff on video, right? You know? I forget. I forget more often than I would probably like to admit.
Yeah. I was talking to my fiance about this yesterday, and it's like, my dream, and this is never gonna happen, but my dream has always been to run like a Final Fantasy 14 account on TikTok, because I don't know if you noticed, but there is no English or NA version of the 14 TikTok account. It's only JP. And so my dream is to like run that account for them. I don't even know like how that's gonna happen, but that's always been my dream. But I was like talking to her, and I was like, well, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wait until I hit 10K, and then maybe I'll send out a couple emails and just see what happens, because I feel like you have to have some sort of clout in order to do that. But then I noticed that the JP TikTok account, they only have like, I think it was like, they don't even have 1 million followers on TikTok, which I was like, it's such a big game. It's such a huge community. Why don't they have that much amount?
It's a niche thing, I think. What I've learned is being a TikTok content creator doesn't translate a lot of times to the wider community. And I'm not sure why. And I do hope that it changes one day. Not even necessarily because, oh yeah, more eyes on me, but like there's so many creative people on that platform. There's so many discussions happening on that platform. Your videos where it's like, hey, this patch just came out. Here's this, and this. You're getting recaps, you're getting tips and tricks, you're getting entertainment. Like, this is your community over here, and I think they deserve those eyes and that attention. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I don't know if it's because TikTok is still too new, or if it's just it doesn't translate to the average gamer. But I hope that changes. I really, truly do.
Do you think TikTok followers help with Twitch growth? Like how have you seen that?
I've noticed some people will come over. Back when I was like super duper active and not like on this weird hiatus, I would get all the time, hey, I follow you on TikTok. Hey, I came over from your TikTok. Oh, neat. That's so cool. So I do think that it helps. Yes. I think, I would say prior to me making TikTok videos, I was under 1,000 on Twitch. And then after I started making the videos and doing stuff there, I got a good few hundred followers, I want to say. I think it does help.
Okay. So what has been your reaction to your account, to your videos from people who know you in real life, like your friends and family? How have they seen your growth? So I am the outlier in my little familial clan. I'm the gamer. I'm chronically online. I'm this, that, the third. So oftentimes they don't relate to, but they've noticed it, and it was really funny. Was it last summer? I think it was last summer. Me and my fiance were at my parents' house. They were having a barbecue. And we're sitting on the front porch, just hanging out, and my cousin shows up. I'm saying hi, as he's walking in, and he pauses at the door, and he's like, I've seen your TikToks. Just like, oh my God. He's like, that's a lot of followers. I was like, yeah. Shh. And he just laughs and goes to the house. But like, it's so weird. It's like, okay. Did you ever have an embarrassing email address? Oh, definitely. Yeah, hell yeah.
Did you ever end up in a situation where you needed to give your email address to someone and it was that embarrassing email address? It's that feeling. It's the same feeling. So having them ask me about it in any way, shape, or form is just, yeah. But they're very supportive. They're very supportive. They don't understand it, but they're very supportive. They like that it makes me happy. And that's about as far as it goes for them.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, I could not deign to try to explain any of that to any of my family. My brother does follow me on Twitch though, and he watches and hangs out like a lot. So
that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So was SpokiDokes, was that like your first project where you're making videos, or did you try other like games, or did you have other accounts before that?
SpokiDokes was a word that a set of high schoolers playing Super Smash at 3 a.m. blurted out and then giggled about for the next hour. It was my gamer tag before it was my content creation tag. And I stuck with it as my content creation tag because at the time that I started getting into content, it was nowhere. I, in a lot of places online, am still the only one. If you search that name, I am often the only result. That and like little bike decorations for the spokes. But prior to that, it was easy to use. It translated to Xbox, to PlayStation, to Twitch, to YouTube. I could claim this as my user ID, my username on a site, and I would have no pushback. And so that's why I used it. It was never like a project. It was never something I sat down and thought real hard about. It wasn't this prolific moment. I was in high school and we were playing Super Smash Brothers. Somebody got knocked out of the ring and then somebody else literally screamed SpokiDokes and we giggled like idiots. That's where it came from.
Wow, that's cool. Can you tell me the story as to when did you decide that you wanted to make videos? Like how did that whole thing start?
Do you mean for TikTok or just in general?
Just in general.
I'm old, Yusuke. So, me wanting to make videos was something that I learned about myself probably senior year of high school. But that was before people were really like doing it for this type of stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube, I think, had just barely been born. And so it started in a broadcasting class that I was taking.
Cool.
And we got this project where we had to like put together something about our family and like edit it. And it wasn't until I got to the editing phase that I realized that I really liked this. I was really into this. And so I've always tried to find a way to incorporate it as a hobby or something more since that point. I've made videos for funsies in a lot of different places, in a lot of different ways. I worked for a convention circuit, hosting cons, anime cons, gaming cons in Colorado, and they would go other places as well for a couple of years. After that, it was another media company, and so this is just something that I've always kind of tried to have one hand on throughout, across the board. So I like it. I don't know. I can't explain beyond that.
Yeah. So did you teach yourself how to edit, or how did that editing stuff? Yeah.
Self-taught. I have not taken a single class. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
YouTube University.
Pretty much every creator that I've talked to on this podcast has told me the same thing, which is, it's so crazy because, you know, you see some of these creators like Pint, for example, who have like all of these crazy editing techniques, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like, they must have like a side job where they're editing professionally or something. But for the most part, all of the creators that you know, especially on TikTok, they all are self-taught, and that is just so fascinating to me. I mean, I'm one of them, I guess. Yeah.
It's just fun. It's really fun when you figure out how to make something cool happen.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating, but it is really, really fun. For me, at least.
Yeah. What do you consider a successful video for you? Or does that not even matter to you?
It does, but not in the same capacity I think a lot of people would realize. If I can go back a week after this has been out, if I have seen this video, because you're constantly looking at it when you get notifications. Oh, yeah. And so when that stops,
every comment,
and like a good 7 days go past, if I can go back to this video and feel how I felt when I first made it, or when I first watched it, if I was supposed to be laughing and I'm laughing, if I'm supposed to feel, moved and I'm moved, that is a successful video.
Interesting.
A lot of people are like, oh man, if I get high numbers, if it gets a lot of traction and numbers are great. That is a measure of success. I try not to pay attention to it. It is very tempting to fall into that trap and let other people determine what is successful. But that is the point where you get sad and you don't want to make content anymore, because you're gonna hit dry spells. There are gonna be points where nobody's looking at what you're making, no matter how good it is to you. So you need to find your own way to measure it. So that is it for me. If I watch a video for all the evers, and I am still feeling the intended emotion, if it's still funny to me, if it's still captivating, whatever, what have you, I did a good job. That was a success.
Yeah, I think for me, the way that I see it is, I make almost a daily video. I try. Sometimes I have a day or two where I'm just lazy and I don't want to do anything. But I try to make daily videos, and for me, the way that I see it is just that if a video that I put out doesn't, get over, 2K, 3K, then to me that's okay, because it just means that I can try again the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. So for me, when I have videos that don't really perform as others tend to do, it doesn't really bother me, because I'm just like, well, I guess people didn't like this, and then I'm just gonna, I just won't make something similar, and then just see what happens tomorrow, and I just go from there.
I think the ones that irk me, that drive me crazy, is if I spend more than 7 hours on this, and then it goes nowhere, I'm like, it's a good video, I just want people to see it.
Yeah, it's so funny, because and that's how TikTok is. Like, there are videos where I literally only spend like 5 or 10 minutes making a video that can get crazy numbers, like 50,000, 60,000.
My most successful video took me 15 minutes to edit and probably 20 to maybe 30 to get the footage for. I was like, Midnight, come here, stand here. He stood there, do this emote, film. 20 minutes later, I had edited it. It took 15 minutes to put together and 500,000 views. Why? So crazy.
Do you have a video in mind that you put like so much time and effort into that just bombed or didn't do as well as you thought it was going to be? Because like
it's happened a couple of times. They always grow at some point or another. Someone gets a hold of it and is like, look at this, everybody, and then it grows. But like there's been a couple. So there's one, and I've been tempted to repost it or even redo it. But it was a Scions tribute that I made. It was one of my first videos when I was starting out, and I love that video. Yeah. And I'm tempted to repost it. Matter of fact, I might.
Yeah.
But it didn't go super far, and I felt like it should have.
That's one of the things that I actually like about TikTok is that a lot of people don't care. Don't care if you repost old videos. It seems like it's part of it's just part of the algorithm. It's just part of the like being a creator. And
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I've yet to do it. I've been doing this for a year and some change at this point on TikTok. I have yet to repeat or repost a single video. They are all unique. They are all different.
Wow.
But I think we're getting at that point.
Yeah.
I think we're it's about that time.
Yeah. I think what I'm gonna do is just like at some point I'm just gonna go back from like the very beginning and just start reposting those like once a week or something, just so I can, just
sneak it in there.
Yeah.
See who notices.
Yeah, exactly. But I made last year for like the end of the year, I made this video called like the Final Fantasy 14 award show contest thing. Like I just made like an award show. I put so much effort into it. It took me like a week to make it, and it just nobody cared. So
like,
that was mine. That was mine. I was just like, damn. Yeah. But it was cool.
But that's where you liked it though.
Yeah, really exactly. So if you haven't, go to my YouTube channel and you can find it there. It has like 100 views or something. But
that's so sad. Yeah. I'm gonna plaster that everywhere. You guys follow Alpaca all over the place. That's good work. He's doing you a service.
Yeah. Okay. Do you prefer to stream on Twitch or make videos? What do you prefer to do?
I jump back and forth. There are pros and cons to each, and so there are weeks where I'm like, I don't want to stream. I don't want to sit here for 4 hours. I don't have anything to talk about. I'm playing the same games. I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And then there are other weeks where I'm like, man, I'm gonna go hang out, play this, or do that. And videos are very much the same way. Videos, it's like I don't want to. It's a lot. Oh God, my content has hit such a certain standard. I actually have to try. I don't feel like trying. And there are weeks where I'm like, oh man, I got this idea. I got that idea. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. Both are difficult in different ways, but streaming for me, because I'm established, is a little bit easier. So if I had to say, would you rather pick one or the other, probably streaming.
Interesting. It's that is fascinating because I think I'm like the complete opposite. Like for me, streaming gives me so much anxiety, and it's just because I know that you have to keep talking in order to have engagement up. But that's hard to do when you only have like a hand, like 1 or 2 people in chat. And like how do you do it? How do you keep up your energy up? Because I feel like whenever you're streaming, whenever you have a camera on you, you have to be on, you have to be energetic. And like how do you handle that?
At this point, my chat is full of gremlins that entertain themselves, so I'm thankful for that. Shouts out to Hyper, Rashiro, Midnight, all of you guys. Thank you. You're doing the heavy lifting for me. You're doing good work. But when I first started out, it was hard. I liked to do things. I'd like to make sure I was having a good day mentally first. Yeah. Right? Because if you're having a good day mentally first, you're far more upbeat. Have you ever been alone in your house and you're just singing songs and doing whatever while you're playing a game, just vibing? I like to go into it with that sort of mood if I could. And so I would get myself a Dr. Pepper, or I would go do something fun or whatever, just to kind of really just get that there naturally as is, because it comes off better that way. And then I would actually take sticky notes and I'd do talking points, or I would put up like a notepad with talking points that I would come up with, stuff to talk about, current events, things that I saw or did throughout the week. what if scenarios, this or that questions. And if I ever found myself with a lull in conversation or somebody that wasn't engaging, I would just glance at the talking points and then I would just bloop. And I'd go off on a tangent about that and I would do it for about 2 to 3 hours. And as time went on, it did get a little easier. It did get to a point where now I don't have to go out and have a woo day. I can just, and now I don't need talking points because I have gremlins that permanently live in my chat. You know what I mean? So it takes time. One of the other pro tips that I would like to use is I would find games with a lot of voice dialogue. So that I didn't have to go with silence. I could just play through the story and let the game do what the game is doing for me. Reading Final Fantasy 14 dialogue is tough. A little rough.
It's rough.
It is.
Especially when you get to Urianger. Especially when you get to Urianger. Oh yeah.
So I would find games with a lot of voice dialogue, or if failing all of that, say the first thing that comes to mind, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not a word.
Yeah.
If what goes through your mind is ziddly boop bop, say it out loud. You're gonna seem crazy, you're gonna feel crazy, but for whatever reason, it works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think for a lot of us creators, the end goal is to eventually quit your day job and do this full time. Is that something that you want to see yourself doing, or how do you see it?
Back and forth with that as a concept. On the one hand, that would be great. I think that would be really fun. On the other hand, I worry about the mental health ramifications on making a switch like that. A lot of people make that switch in earnest and they're like, this is going to be great. I can play video games all day. Do you know how at risk your depression is for you sitting and playing video games all day? Yeah. You're not actually in a room with these people. That's a camera. You're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And so I bounce back and forth. On the one hand, would it be great? Would it be fun? Yes, I would love to create content and edit and do things like that. On the other hand, I do think that going outside is very important.
Touching grass.
That having real world connections to people are important. That's for you, for your health. And so would I do it? Maybe. But I would definitely need a balance. It would be gaming content and we're going on IRL field trips, because there's no way. I could not be an Asmongold. I could not be a Rich Campbell. I could not be, and sit in the room 10 hours a day every day. I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Ugh, I couldn't do it.
So you have a pretty big Discord channel.
I do.
Shout out to Spoki Squad. What can you give me like a quick history of that Discord? Because when I go through it, I'm always a little envious, because I'm like, damn, this has everything. Everything is just so like tight knit. Everything is just so cool. You have like all of these like custom emojis. You have like so much going on to it. Like, was that a lot of work?
It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's still a lot of work. It's up and established.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of work. I got mods and stuff. It's a lot of work. Ask any of them. They hate it. They hate me. I hate them.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm kidding. So I've had the Spoki Squad Discord for a while now. And when I say a while, I mean probably close to 8 years.
Whoa. Okay.
Little known fact, you guys are learning a lot about me today. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Bad Luck B in the chat knows. Prior to being where I'm at right now on Twitch and TikTok, I was on Facebook. And I had a fan page on Facebook, which I pulled myself. I made the choice to shut it down. But that Facebook page had 15,000 followers, I want to say.
Why would you do that?
When I was over there.
Why?
Because it was a meme page, and it wasn't it. I lost sight of what I wanted to truly do. And it's so much. Originally, I was gonna clean it all up and like swap it out and put like Final Fantasy stuff on there. And then I realized that would have been like 6 years worth of effort, and I didn't want to. So I just haven't gone back to it. I'm sure if I log in, I could still go access it and whatnot now.
Yeah.
But I was streaming on Facebook. That was back when we were playing a lot of Smite and a lot of Monster Hunter, and a couple of fighting games here and there.
Yeah.
And then even before that, I think we were on Facebook for 3 years. And even before that, I was on Twitch.
Yeah.
So my Twitch tag, my username is older than my Final Fantasy career and all of the videos that have been present on there. And then on Twitch back then, it was Smite Black Ops 2. You know what I mean? So I've been doing this for a really long time. And the Discord was kind of a proxy of that. That was my original first attempt at a community. And then I got big on Facebook and I was doing a lot of Facebook stuff. So I had a Facebook group. And the catalyst for me actively pouring effort into the Discord was that Facebook like algorithm gate where they were like flagging stuff that was like years old and like reporting people and all that. My group got hit with that. The bots got my group hard, and I was getting all of these notifications for flags for content that was years old. And I just lost my shit one day. I was pissed. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. You guys come to Discord. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not posting here anymore.
Yeah.
And that was where I started fixing it up and putting effort into it. So that's right now from that point to now has been probably another 4 years or so.
Wow.
It's been a long time going. There's been tons of iterations, different mods, different channels and things like that. But it is a lot of work and it is a lot of effort. You do have to stop in every day. You do have to be in those conversations.
I get that.
Setting up rules, making sure that there's always something to look at.
That's crazy. Yeah. Like I get that because not a lot of people know this, but my YouTube channel actually got demonetized like 3 months ago.
No. What happened? I hate it.
So apparently the reason why it got demonetized was because I had a lot of reused content. So when that happens, YouTube tells you to file an appeal, and the way that you do that is you literally make a video, you upload it, and you enlist it on YouTube, and you basically have to give your side of the story. And you know, in that video, my appeal video, I basically told them like, hey, you know, I make a lot of memes, I remix old memes, and you know, sometimes that has TV shows or whatever. I'm pretty sure that was the reason why I got flagged. But
I see.
The appeal got denied because apparently I didn't talk about my entire channel. All I talked about was like my memes and my shorts. But at the same time, that is like 90%. That is like 90% of my content. Yeah, so
right.
So that I don't know, but yeah, so it got demonetized, and now I can reapply in like the 16th, like in 2 weeks or so. So
oh man, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I hope they put it back, because YouTube that's the big boy playing field. YouTube is the big boy playing field. So if I could give you any advice to like truly take with you, stick with that.
Yeah,
that's where you want to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is pretty much our show for the day.
Oh, that's it. Thank you, chat. You guys have been talking this whole time. You guys are so cool. Yes, I used to play fighters. There's a rumor, at least. You can't prove it. I'm retired.
Go ahead and plug your channel. Where can people find you? What can people expect from your videos in a couple months? Like, what do you got going on?
Right. Okay, so you can find me by my name, SpokiDokes. You can try searching Spoki. You'll probably get other people. Just, you got to type the full thing. It's the whole thing. Call me Spoki, but you got to use my whole name, SpokiDokes. I am uploading to TikTok periodically. I don't have a structured schedule for when I'm going to get back more regular for those videos. However, I do stream every Sunday night. And when I stream Sunday nights, it's 7:30 my time, which is 9:30 if you're on the East Coast, or 6:30 if you're on the West Coast. So 8:30, 7:30, 8:30 if you're Central.
One of those.
You can find me every Sunday night on Twitch. You can hang out with me. It is a ton of Final Fantasy 14. I do play other games as well. So, look forward to that. I will actually be doing another podcast type beat with Pro Quesadilla later tonight.
Nice.
Where you can hang out with me a little bit more if you want to know. He and I are co-leaders for the Kings of Iron, our Final Fantasy XIV FC. And we're celebrating our 1 year as an FC on Dynamis, and we have been all week. Tonight is the finale of that, culminating in a party right here in our FC yard. You guys have been staring at it and all of the gremlins in it. Yes, I see all of you behind me while we've been talking. It'll be right here in the yard. It is open. Everybody is welcome to come. That's Dynamis, Seraph, Shirogane, Ward 9, Plot 30. At the same time that Osiris, our DJ, will be spinning music and we'll be celebrating. Kesa and I will be talking about what that journey has looked like in the past year. And let me tell you, it's a lot. Gosh, you guys got to make sure you come through for the housing arc, okay? Because Christ. Been an anime.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all kinds of places. Twitch and TikTok.
Great. And you all know my name is Alpaca. You can find me on Twitch, on TikTok, on YouTube. Go subscribe to me on YouTube, please. And this has been Chocobo Radio episode number 22. And I will catch you all later. Bye, everybody.